week and last week. Call to order the April 11th, 2022 business meeting. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Burgoyne?
Here.
Mr. Kuger?
Here.
Mrs. Lemon?
Here.
Mr. Metallic?
Here.
Mr. Price? Mr. Shalinski?
Here.
Mrs. Secco? Here. Mr. Taz?
Here.
Mrs. Snagsto?
Here. Do we have representatives from the Hope Club this evening? I thought I saw Mr. Will Lemon.
How can you miss them? How many feet is it growing this year?
Alright, last blood drive, was the best one ever in March. We had 45 units. Several items were donated to Ukrainian families. The kindergarten egg hunt is tomorrow, and the weather's looking pretty good. Club Hope Board of Directors will join the 10th graders on a trip to Shanksville to the Flight 93 Memorial on May 3rd. So, thank you.
Thank you, Will. We have the Seed and Read, Ms. Mollis.
Hello, thank you for having us today. I'm Ms. Mollis. I have an 11th grade English classroom and a crew of students here today to talk to you about a project they're excited to take on. It's called the Seed and Read. It's a literary garden. And they are excited to share some of the particulars with you. They welcome your feedback, they welcome your questions, and they welcome any reminders to stay on task so we don't take up too much of your time, RJ.
Hi, I'm Kaden. We call this a Seed and Read, a literary garden. The first step to this garden was to figure out who was conquering what. 3 teams were created to finish this project in a timely and orderly fashion. First up, we have the executive team. They're in charge of organization, budget, and research items for this garden, such as furniture and birdhouses. Next, we have the implementation team. They're in charge of design, inspiration, and problem solving with the project. They will also be putting the flowers in the background. Finally, we have the communications team. We are responsible for transforming the work of the other 2 teams into written material. At a later time, we also created social media to show off our work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Austin Michael, and so one thing as we started designing this, we really had to think of how this is going to be beneficial to our school. And some things we thought of were it gives the students the opportunity to experience a nature-like environment with the view of the garden. And then we also have the position of the garden so that it may be seen by the students and staff, therefore giving uplifting moods and adding a nice view to the school. And then, so that also includes our 6th through 12th grades as we want to position it right outside of the cafeteria so that they can all see it. And then specific to our 11th grade, it allows students to form teams and then work together to create and transform an area into a beautiful environment. And it taps into students' personal abilities and allows them to put to work. For example, a creative student will be able to help design the actual garden, while a more budgeting and financial student will be able to make lists in order to budget the entire project.
Inspired by the students' love of transcendentalism and the profound challenges that a COVID-19 pandemic presented, Ms. Moss sought to provide an opportunity where students' critical thinking and problem-solving transformed an area of campus into a more functional outdoor space that can have both recreational and academic use.
Our current plan is to divide and conquer. During this time, we will be working on the project in 3 different groups: the executive, implementation, and communications team. Communicating between sources and other groups, bringing our ideas to light. We will continue to take pictures and videos of our process and show the hard work of everyone involved. The 11 creators that will be working on it will have to learn how to work as a team and what it's like to work in the real world with budgets and knowing what to buy. The students have to research and find the best things for the Reading Seed Garden, as well as figure out what furniture and flowers are best for our climate.
Hello. The overall goal is to encourage pleasure and cultivated curiosity. It also brings curiosity to nature. It can help bring in ideas for new hobbies for kids in Burgettstown, from new things to read and also gardening. The lending library, we also continue to learn how important reading and writing is. We really believe that this project will mean a lot. One thing we plan to incorporate into our design is a mini library to hold all books that we will use to help design this garden. To create this mini library, we will partner up with WACTC carpentry class to create a small box designed by English 11 students. This is just another way to show how we feel about this project. We will bring together our students after too many months of separation. Does anybody have comments or questions?
When will this garden be there?
Well,
We're starting now.
Tough question.
We are starting now.
yes, we are starting now. Hopefully soon.
So we're waiting for some supplies to come in. I think furniture arrived today. So we'll start building it and clearing land as soon as the rain picks up the rain. So it should be soon. It'll be done by the end of this week.
Hoping. So,
I hope you're taking pictures of the process and everything so you guys can maybe share it with us.
we're getting there.
Yeah, so the individuals here today are part of the communications team. We have 3 different teams. And the communications team, they are in charge of
We
the
have a
social
social
media
media
campaign.
account and everything, so we're gonna be taking pictures of, we have a layout of what we're doing, like a 1 minute blueprint, and then when we get to the blueprint, we are gonna actually design out the land and go along as we.
What about your funding?
Funding, we already have our funding, we had $5,000,
For IU1.
Yeah, the IU1, the grant that she applied for, so,
You think that's going to be enough, or are you going to need more funding in the future?
we'll never know.
I hope so. We're putting a lot of attention into hardy plants that are very low maintenance. All of the plants have some sort of connection to a piece of literature. So the students did research on books they like to read, books that we study in our English classroom,
Books
and
have flowers and then that
books
will
that
have flowers.
so all of the choices have some connection to a piece of literature. And there will be garden stones that communicate the titles of those works, along with that of the flowers. But we definitely picked hardy plants that are very low maintenance.
In the book, the mini library will also have a lot to play along with it. The books that we use to make the garden with the flowers in it will have that mini library with them in there, hopefully. Yeah, so,
Very good.
very good.
Good luck.
But, thank you.
How many total students are involved?
How many total students? Around 40. So of the classes that I teach, it's both of my English 11 classes that are managing the project. So it's 2 class periods of English 11. There's about 40 of them total. So there's yeah, they get a little territorial because they had 2 different plans, so we had to merge them.
Yes,
There's
we
some
did.
collaboration can be a challenge.
That's teamwork.
Teamwork's hard when you have to go to different plans.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
All right, Ms. Mollis and students, and we have Gianna from Student Council.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm here to tell you a little bit about what Student Council has been doing the past month or so and what we have coming up in the next coming weeks. So first I want to talk about the Student Council exchange that we had with Jefferson Morgan. At the beginning of March, students from Jefferson Morgan Student Council came to Burgettstown and they got a tour of the school. So they got to see most, if not all, of the classrooms, meet the teachers, go in the cafeterias, the gyms, the library, and we told them a little bit about how our clubs and sports programs are and a little bit about how our school days run. And then at the end of March, students from our student council went to Jefferson Morgan. We got a tour of the school and got some ideas from them. So I think it was very beneficial to do these school switches because like I said, we got a lot of good ideas, and the group that went to Jefferson Morgan, which I was part of, we actually met with Mr. Fadden, Mrs. Faranchua, and Mr. Pushkar today to discuss some of these ideas that we liked. So as long as there is follow through with some of these ideas, I think that these school switches will be beneficial in the future. Unfortunately, I won't get to take part in them because I will be graduating, but I think that, I hope that student council gets these opportunities in the future. Also, on April 1st, we had our district-wide pep assembly for the spring sports. So the elementary school came up, and obviously middle school and high school were there. We had a great pep assembly. I don't know if you guys saw a couple weeks ago, we did make the front page of the Observer Reporter with our new mascot, so that was very exciting. And unfortunately, we had so much planned that we didn't get it all into one pep assembly. So we do plan on having another one on May 25th. That is in the works. And then also May 2nd through May 6th is Teacher Appreciation Week. So we will be planning to do some stuff with that. In the past, we've done thank you cards and passed out snacks and stuff during homeroom. So I'm assuming we're gonna have something along those lines this year as well. So, yeah, we do have some things in the works. We had some great things going on in the past month. And does anyone have any questions? Great, thank you.
Thank you, Gianna. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the business meeting dated March 14, 2022 as presented?
Motion.
Second. Mr. Burgoyne, with a second by Mrs. Secco. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting for buildings and grounds and other general purposes dated March 24th, 2022 as presented?
That's a motion.
Mr. Burgoyne with a second by Mrs. Secco. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Do we have, anyone have any questions on tonight's agenda? We have a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
That's a motion.
Second.
Mr. Burgoyne and Mrs. Secco. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Any public comment this evening? Correspondence, Mr. Pushkar, if you could give us a brief.
Thank you, Mrs. Snatchko. Board members, in front of you, you should have the State of Education, a pamphlet. This is Pennsylvania School Board put this out, and if you take some time, there's just, I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, I'm just gonna say that it really presents a nice snapshot in graphic form, the graphs and the charts and things like that, of really the state of education, not only in the nation, but more locally here in the Commonwealth. And it talks about, things like the staffing shortages that are increasing, special ed populations going up across the Commonwealth, the emergence of social-emotional issues and what that impact is, the revenue shortfalls, the pension costs, all those kinds of things are displayed in here in a graph form. But if you really want to kind of get a grasp of a little bit of everything that you all deal with every month in your jobs as school board members, it's there and can help inform you. This is also online on Pennsylvania School Board's website, psba.org, if you want to check it out there, or the public can also check it there. And just by way of extension there, the School Boards Association website has a ton of information for you all. I encourage you, if you've not created your username and password and all of that, there are a lot of resources there for you. This is there for you. School board members have to take courses, whether you're a new member or a re-elected member, and you can retake those courses. I was on there a couple weeks ago taking some courses myself just to take them again, refreshers. So I encourage you to read through this. You know the initiatives we're going on now, some of this goes right into that, and it fits right in with budgeting season 2 as well. So that's the state of education as listed by PSBA.
Thank you, Mr. Pushkar. Administration reports, we'll start with Ms. Farinchua.
Good evening. Maybe a few not so exciting things that I did in the last couple weeks that I want to go over. I did attend the Federal Programs Conference at Seven Springs. I submitted the revisions for our federal funding adjustments. I attended the non-public consultation meetings, and I'm currently working on the ESSER data collection form. I think the thing that I'm most excited to report, though, I recently joined a educational podcast committee through the IU. Its purpose is to showcase the good things that our teachers are doing. So we were the pilot podcast group. They aired last week, or they recorded last week. They're gonna let us know the air dates. But I want to thank April Eagle and Jamie Smith. They discussed their part in implementing our MTSS grant. Liz Bebo and Beth Roman for discussing their wellness homeroom at our middle level. These are for students that are having trouble transitioning in the morning, and they provide an area for the students to kind of relax and get focused on the day. Nicole Klein and Michelle Reed for discussing their coding programs at both the elementary and middle school level. And Tony Taz and Dr. Lee for discussing their vision on their innovation grant. They're awarded money and they're planning an outdoor reading center. I'm extremely proud of these teachers and the work that they're doing for our students. I want to make sure I showcase them tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Farinchua. Ms. O'Donnell.
Good evening. I received notification from PD this past month that we were approved for the pre-time referendum acceptance that we applied for, just in case we would need them. Also, we're scheduled for an administrative review in our food service. I'm meeting an auditor, basically like an audit. I'll be meeting her tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock, and she'll be observing the breakfast and lunch in the middle high school. She'll complete everything tomorrow. She'll come down to our office probably and do some work there, and then do an exit conference with us, Hal and myself, and more than likely Mr. Pushkar. And hopefully no findings. I mean, we do this every 3 years, so hopefully we're clean there, and just keep plugging along with the budget.
Thank you, Ms. O'Donnell. Mr. Fadden.
Good evening, everyone. One of the things I want to showcase was our career day that we had on March 18th. Actually, Mr. Taz, Mr. Shalinsky were two of the participants that we had in it. We had roughly 30 members from the community come in and participate in our career day with our sophomores, juniors, and seniors. It was a very productive day. We learned a lot about what we should continue to do in the future with this, and we got some ideas on how we can tweak this in the future, but it was a very positive day for our students. I want to piggyback off of what Gianna said, that the pep rally that we had was pretty awesome. If you didn't, Mr. Pushkar was streaming it while it was going on, but it was an excellent experience for our students. So I want to thank Student Council, Hope Club, and the Pep Club, Mrs. Dangle, Mrs. Freditz, Mrs. Cataract for their work that went into it. And then we're getting into testing season, so we're getting ready for the SSAs, AP testing, Keystones. We got a lot of things that are going to be keeping us busy over the next couple of weeks with regards to state testing, and that's what we're looking at next month. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fadden. Mrs. Schaefer.
Good evening. Tonight, I'd like to focus my board report on something that we've been working on at the middle high school since the fall. This will be put into action next week on April 22nd. The plan that I speak of is our middle school wellness day. As I've said before, this day was developed to organize our organized by our middle school teachers to provide an opportunity to dedicate a day to focus on our students' mental health and wellness. This day is strictly to focus on what our students need outside the frame of academics and to teach that it's okay to practice self-care and build it into our everyday lives. It's estimated that 1 in 5 people live with some sort of mental disorder or disease. Despite the fact that the average age of early signs of mental illness is 14, most individuals don't seek help until adulthood. Underlining the seriousness that the fact that 60% of high school students with mental illness don't graduate. Our teachers have recognized the impact that a student's mental health has on learning and achievement, and they realize that there's a great deal that can be done to help students with mental health issues. We as a district are grateful that mental health awareness is finally becoming an important part of the school's functioning curriculum. Some of the activities that our students have to look forward to next week are nature walks, mindfulness practice, meditation, de-stressing workouts, board games, and so much more. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Schaefer. Mrs. Burton.
Good evening, everybody. The last couple months, in the next few months, or the end of the year, we'll be busy from wrapping up the IEP meetings, not only with students in our district, but those outside. Also getting ready for the special ed plan that will have to be submitted and put for public viewing and then submitted by the end of July. So that's what I've been looking at. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Burton. Mr. Navadakis.
Good evening. Just prepping for the end of the year with state reporting and Chromebooks and getting ready for next year, trying to figure out what our needs are and begin purchasing, because there's, like everything else in technology, we're well behind with, if we put any orders out, we might not receive them in time for the beginning of the year. Kind of what I dealt with most of this year anyways, but we're trying to get that ball rolling. The report cards went live at the end of the month, and right now I've been working with two-step authentication and multi-form authentication, protecting our servers and our email addresses from hacking and all that other fun stuff. It's also going on in the world, so something I've been working on as well.
Thank you, Nav.
You're welcome.
Mrs. Slay.
Good evening. Just a brief overview from last month. The fuel consortium deliveries have settled down and now they're coming in on time, which is great news for us. Including gauge on the tank, which is also great news for us because now we actually really know what's in there, we're not guessing. And just that Kenwood ticket sales are April 29th, and I believe they're going to be sold that day this year. And I believe bus tickets are the same day. So not much more to say. This month, surprise,
Thank you, Mrs. Slay. Mr. Minford. Welcome.
Thank you. It is nice to meet you all. My name is Mr. Minford. I am currently transferring over to Burgettstown as your new food service director. I did a little report for you guys for last month of March, showing the different meals a day that we were doing, and so on and so forth. Currently, last month, I changed up the menu a little bit, as you guys probably are well aware of. I've decided to bring in a Taco Tuesday. How did you guys actually enjoy that? Was it actually something you guys really like? So I'm trying to change up just a few different things to try to get everybody more excited about eating breakfast, lunch, and so on and so forth. And that goes across the board with elementary school and also for the high school. For the elementary school, we're bringing back more options so that the elementary school kids can eat more. Who doesn't like eating food? I sure do, as you can see. For breakfast, I also am trying to really bring up our breakfast meals because I can see that they're very, very low. Another thing, I'm also introducing 2 to 3 new items for you guys every month so that you guys can tell me by eating if you like them or dislike them. Understand completely. You guys have any questions?
How's the transition been so far?
Good so far. Definitely a change. A little bit further to go, but I'm enjoying it so far.
One thing in the past with the food service directors that we've had since I've been on board is that they incorporate a lot of the students in their feedback, and they do surveys, and they work pretty closely with a lot of the kids and doing different things. Are you planning on doing that as well? or-
Absolutely.
or too?
So when I first started, I actually was doing an Airmark survey that we had running at the same time. So I put it up in the high school, and I've actually been reading over different suggestions that they've given already.
I'm sure they're creative.
Oh, I'm sure. Any other questions?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Manfred. Mr. Ziegler.
Should I run? How's everyone tonight? Good evening. In short, I'll work backwards on the 4 pages real quick on the inside of your mileage report. The work order percentage, I'm gonna start from ground zero on that, just to keep track of it. Didn't really like what I seen in our TMA system, so I just want to start fresh on that. Projects, one of the summer projects, we just got started on a little earlier than expected. The metal roofs, they're probably complete as of the end of the day today. The dugouts at the softball field. Just continuing to work and try to improve the cleaning, the protocols, and what everybody knows what they need to do. And we're just trying to get back into the groove. We'll get there. I'm confident of that. As everybody's aware, we're a little broken right now, but we'll get through. I know that we will. So that's it. Any question?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ziegler. Mrs. Graham.
Thank you. Just, as you know from our report, just pretty much focusing on working with the negotiation committee to get to the point where we do have a collective bargaining agreement to bring to the full board for ratification. Hopefully we'll be there in the next few months.
Thank you, Mrs. Graham. Mr. Pushkar.
Thank you. Just a couple of things. So first of all, we had an executive session prior to the meeting for personnel, and we will not have one afterwards. We're quickly wrapping up the year. It's interesting, wrapping up the year. We talk about testing and things like that, but things are also looking towards next year. Kindergarten registration has started. Actually, the numbers are pretty good. We're in the high 50s already for this time of year. I understand it's pretty good, and that's ongoing. So if anybody is asking about kindergarten registration, we have some. It's on the weekly update. It's on the website and things like that. So that will continue. Brian and the school counselors are starting the registration process for next year. There's a 9th grade orientation for current 8th graders coming up. So explain the difference, that difference between middle school when you're not earning those credits necessarily towards the graduation count. That's kind of a big deal. So that's going on there. And then I guess the final thing is that the pep rally it was incredible. I've been to a lot of pep rallies in all my years, and the student participation was just absolutely incredible. It was almost like you've ever been to a Penguin game during the playoffs? It was almost that loud. And I think we also need to Brian gave a shout out to a bunch of people, but we do want to thank the Burgettstown Area Community Development Corporation because they donated the mascot. So it's just really was a nice atmosphere. It's going to be interesting. It's good to say that to the end of the year for that next one, get them all wound up. But having all the students up there, I've been saying over the last couple of weeks, we are really kind of getting back to, I don't want to say it out loud, but we're getting back there to where, it feels like school again, and I hope that continues and that, we close the school out in a normal manner and then start out next year. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Pushkar. May I have a motion to approve all administrative reports as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Sacco with a second by Mr. Burgoyne. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Section 5, Budget and Finance, Mr. Kuchar.
5.1, list of bills, a motion to ratify the list of bills for April 2022 as presented.
That's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Burgoyne. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
5.2, financial statement, a motion to accept the financial statement as presented and place on file for audit.
That's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mrs. Secco. Any questions?
Questions? For Jamie, always. The revenue sources that I know are always up in the air, are those finally solidified now? I know they're a little less than what we expect. I know you never know what it's
Yeah,
gonna be. so-
transportation's a lot less than, I just got the preliminary final report, it's a lot less than what we had budgeted, but that was kind of expected too, it's just with COVID and everything else, it's just, that one's probably the only one that's really low, and that, the ESSER money that is budgeted, if we don't spend all the ESSER two, then that's gonna be another one that's gonna be low.
Okay, so alright, that makes sense. Yeah. And then second, one line item, the operation and maintenance plant services line, item, that's looking to be under budget by $250,000. Do you know why that is? Where the savings are? That's great, but I was curious as to if we could pin it down.
Off the top of my head, I don't know, I can look deeper into those accounts tomorrow.
Yeah, I know we did the LED lighting, I'm sure I saved a couple
Yeah,
dollars.
it could be some energy,
Yeah.
gas bills, that kind of thing. I can look deeper into that.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
5.3 solicitation. 1, a motion to approve soliciting for services for the 2022-2023 school year as presented. A, school physician. B, school dental examiner. C, equipment and school supplies.
That's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mrs. Secco. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2, a motion to approve soliciting for athletic training services.
That's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Burgoyne. Any questions?
I do, I have one. Our contract's out with the current one, right? And they are free, how's the training working now? Any issues or anything that you're
My
aware of?
understanding is, since they're kind of trainer by committee,
I think, I've heard very good things about, and I heard one wants to come back, actually.
Oh, really?
If we do renew it.
okay,
I've heard one of them wants to.
well, that's good to hear, there haven't been any issues since that transition. And as we go into spring sports, I haven't heard anything yet, but we need to,
No, I know.
firm this up, and it's a
Yeah.
separate motion just because we're looking for a multi-year again,
Yeah.
instead of just next year.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Section 6, education, Mrs. Lemon.
Good evening. Under section 6.1, health and safety report, I have nothing to report at this time. 6.2, the enrollment report is attached in board docs. 6.3, the guidance newsletter also available, in board docs. Under 6.4, the school calendar, I would like to make a motion, please, to approve the 22-23 school calendar as presented.
That's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mrs. Secco. Any questions?
I have one. How come we moved Kenny Week to the last day of school year, or from that?
It's the same as it always is,
I
it's
thought-
always the Friday after Memorial Day.
Okay, and then our last day for students is the Thursday?
It's just the way,
Okay, I'm
last
just
day of
wondering.
school fell, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, Kennywood doesn't change, that's always when it's.
okay, just wondering, because it was different from that.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Under 6.5, professional development, I'd like to make a motion, please, to ratify the listed conferences and workshops as presented. Number 1, for Kevin Krasowski to attend the 54th Pennsylvania State Athletic Directors Association Conference at Hershey Lodge and Convention Center in Hershey, PA on March 15th through the 18th, 2022. Total cost was $1,710.16 to be paid for at the cost of the district.
That's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Price. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion for April Eagle and Heather Schaefer and Jamie Smith to attend Get Connected Conference at St. Vincent College in Latrobe, PA. Also was March 30th. Approximate total cost $407.69. Costs were paid by Title II.
That's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Burgoyne. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Number 3, for Jacqueline Martello and Emily Mitchell to attend the PA Speech Language Hearing Association Convention at Sheraton Pittsburgh Hotel in Pittsburgh on April 7th through the 8th on 2022. Approximate cost was $729.64, also paid by Title II.
That's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
second Mrs. Secco. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Number 4, I'd like to make a motion, please, for Heidi Betchar to attend the 2022 PMEA Annual In-Service Conference together at Kalahari Resort and Conference Center in Pocono Manor, PA, also April 7th through the 9th, 2022. Total approximate cost was $1,199.61, minus a $450 reimbursement, totaling $749.61, cost paid by Title II.
That's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second Mrs. Secco. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
6.6 agreements. I'd like to make a motion, please, to approve the linkage agreement between Intermediate Unit 1 and Burgettstown Area School District for referred student services as presented.
That's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Burgoyne. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
And under 6.7, the VOAG program, I'd like to make a motion, please, to approve the listed students to participate in the vocational agriculture program for the 22-23 school year as presented. Abigail Mitchell to attend Fort Cherry School District, Mackenzie Mitchell to attend Fort Cherry School District, Emma Posty to attend Fort Cherry School District, and Abigail Winsheimer to attend Fort Cherry School District.
That's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mrs. Secco. Any questions?
Question, what does it cost to send them there?
Jamie, do you have the cost for,
It's probably 11,000.
Is that for the whole year? For,
Any
is
other?
that
Per student.
11,000 per student?
Any other questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Section 7, Personnel, Mr. Price.
Thank you. 7.1 is the disclaimer. 7.2 deals with resignations. I make a motion to accept the list of resignations as presented. Edward Cousins, Louis Hurwitz, and James Roner. That's a motion.
That's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mrs. Secco. Any questions?
Question, why has James Roner resigned? Didn't he just come on the ship? Is there, know why he's resigned?
Yeah, because he said, he's busy and he takes too much of his time, so he'd rather just go back to being himself.
Any other questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
7.3 deals with, employment, a motion to ratify the listed employment item as presented. A, Judith Tomey as permanent part-time weekend custodian, per the agreement. And 2, the motion to approve the listed employment as presented. Brian Maltoni as head varsity boys basketball coach, pending receipt of all paperwork. That's a motion.
That's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mrs. Lemon. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
7.4 deals with leaves of absence. Recommended action, I have to ratify the listed leaves as presented. A, Deborah Ladowski, paraprofessional. Stephen Novicki, a bus driver. Employee number 097410 for unpaid intermediate FLMA of March 21st, 2022, not to exceed 60 days. D, Troy Elish, bus driver for the following unpaid days, March 24, 25, 28, 29, which is a half day of the current school year. And Tanya Inman, cafeteria worker for the following unpaid day, March 31st. That's a motion.
That's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mrs. Secco. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Number 2, approve the listed leave of absence as presented for Shelby John, secretary for the following unpaid days, April 12th and April 13th, 2022. That's a motion.
It's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mrs. Secco. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
7.5 deals with substitutes. Recommended action is to ratify the substitute list for the 21-22 school year as presented. We have a bus driver, Teresa Pierce, as of March 28th, pending receipt of paperwork. 2 is the cafeteria, Marie Mazza Higgins, as of March 30th. And number 3, custodian Marie Maza Higgins as of March 30th. And Kelvin Bowling pending receipt of all paperwork.
That's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Burgoyne. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
7.6 deals with volunteers. The recommended action is to approve the list of volunteers as presented. Michael Blair as volunteer football coach, pending receipt of all paperwork. And number 2, Benjamin Simmons as volunteer football coach, pending receipt of all paperwork. That's a motion.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mrs. Secco. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Section 8, athletics and related activities. Mr. Metallic.
The athletic director's report is available online.
Section 9, transportation. Mr. Shalinski.
9.1 transportation reports can be found online. 9.2 school transportation agreement. A motion to approve school transportation agreement as presented with parent guardian permission. 1, Dana Frattini, teacher, to transport students to Grandpa Joe's Candy Store, Chico Bacello's, and Canonsburg Cake Company in Canonsburg, PA on May 11th, 2022 to practice life skills lessons in a community setting.
That's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mrs. Secco. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
9.3 supplemental student transportation services. Motion to accept the listed drivers with Jake Schneider contract to assist with transporting students for the Burgettstown Area School District for the 2021-2022 academic year. 1, Arlene Garusco, and 2, David Gobert.
That's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mrs. Secco. Any questions?
Are these students new, or just, why were you scheduling transportation this late in the year?
These are drivers, new
Oh,
drivers.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
That's okay.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Section 10, buildings and grounds. Mr. Burgoyne.
10.1, buildings and grounds reports are online. The report is online. Subject 10.2, Site Logic IQ. Do I have a motion to reconsider the motion to accept the proposal of Site Logic IQ dated December 1st, 2021 for facilities condition assessment and resulting report in a lump sum amount of $15,000, with the understanding that this does not obligate the school district to proceed with any recommendations resulting from the report and/or to retain Site Logic IQ to provide any additional services. This proposal is subject to execution of a mutual acceptable agreement prepared, reviewed by the solicitor.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mrs. Secco. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Mr. Burgoyne. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to accept the proposal of Site Logic IQ dated December 1st, 2021 for facilities conditioning assessment and resulting report in a lump sum amount of $15,000, with the understanding that this does not obligate the school district to proceed with any recommendations resulting from the report and/or to retain Site Logic to provide any additional services. This proposal is subject to execution of a mutual acceptable agreement to be prepared, reviewed by the solicitor.
That's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mrs. Secco. Any questions?
Question, did Mr. Ziegler find out, like a comparison of the Aramark bid was like $50,000, right? Right, when you had mentioned last meeting about it being, you were surprised it was that high for a high school versus what you did at a college. Did you get any info on that?
I did look into it, and I also had a meeting with Mr. Bushgar with Site Logic.
And what's your opinion on the meeting?
With Site Logic?
Yeah.
I think it was very thorough. I do. They're hitting all the strategical points, based on your facilities, just from, anything from the infrastructure to your grounds, to your off-site facilities and stadium and athletic areas, and everything internally and externally. It was pretty thorough.
Was there any reason why Aramark's bid was so much higher? Did you ever find that out?
I didn't take it that far. I'll just be truthful with you. I just made a phone call and just said disappointment, and I left it at that.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Section 11, Western Area and Technology Center, Mrs. Secco.
I know there's nothing stated here to report, however, the 50th anniversary is coming up on June 3rd, I believe is when we're having an all-day event. I'll have more information, I'll provide it to Mr. Pushkar, I'm sure he's been given some information already as well. So it can be posted, it's open to the public, and there's gonna be a lot of raffles and fundraising and different things that they're gonna be doing. And also, it's an area that the kids are gonna be able to showcase some of the things they've been working on. The next meeting that we have for the JOC is April 27th, and there is an open invitation to any other board members that would like to come and have a tour. I'm excited already. If you'd like to come back and join us, you're welcome to. We are going to try to do that at 5:30 on April 27th. So anybody here that would like to join, please let me know. And we are now scheduling interviews for principal. Mrs. Adams has put in for her retirement, and she's going to be a hard one to replace, since she is now, I think, at 41.5 years that she's been at the school. So she started off as a teacher there. So that's the update for you.
Thank you, Mrs. Secco. Food service, Mr. Kuchar.
Yeah, there are no motions, food service report is available online, just one question, what are you hearing about free meals for 2022-2023 school year? What I found online is everything's up in the air.
That's what I've heard, so I haven't had anything
Yeah, I think
specific.
it looks like it's gonna go back to normal, seems like everything I've read. Not definite, but.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna have to be prepared then if we're gonna have to come up with pricing, because I know in the past, every year, the price would increase by 5-10 cents for each meal, so that's.
Looks like Mr. Minford has his,
Sorry.
Again, welcome.
Get his calculator.
Oh, okay, come on, I thought you were gonna start.
Okay, well, hopefully it happens, but
Yeah.
probably won't.
I'm not optimistic.
Yeah.
Section 13, student discipline.
Nothing to report.
14, policy, Mr. Taz.
Stop jinxing.
15, old business, new business.
I have a couple things. I brought up before about the district hiring a full-time grant writer, and I'm not talking about a principal, like their sole purpose is grant writing. I just want to see steps forward going with that.
We've not done anything with it beyond looking for, some other districts that have done that. When we build the budget, if it's the board's wish, that'll be in there, and that's kind of the next step.
Okay.
And then when you decide that, okay, this is the position we want to support, it is in the budget, then we'll put the job description together and do all of that and what that looks like.
Okay. The next thing I had was solar panels. I think we should jump on it immediately. I just don't, there's no loss, it doesn't cost the district any extra money. They're gonna average out what your bills are per month. That's gonna be your payment plan for the next 20, 25 years or so. And then it makes budgeting easier, and then at the end of that 25 years, you don't have a bill anymore. You're saving how much, and even after 5 years, at a fixed rate, we don't know what the price of electricity is gonna be in 5 years. So you'd be saving money on the back end just in 5 years. So I think it's just something that we should really pursue.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit in donation round.
I spoke to our grant writer today at work. She said in the next couple of days, she'll look and see if there's something available for a school district, that if she finds any grants available, she'll let me know.
Okay.
So hopefully I have something by the end of this week.
Right, okay, that helps.
I also have something for old business. So Mr. Shalinski had gotten a quote or a bid, I don't know what you say, for nothing. He just had somebody come up and look at the roof, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they had told us that there was issues with it. Have we gone to look to see if that's something we need to get done soon?
The issues on the roof here at the elementary center are
At the
not
high
those
school.
are known ones. The high school one,
Yes, actually, that was with Keith, so we gotta update Craig on the issues up on the high school roof. Cause I don't know if Lou ever.
Welcome back, Mr. Secco.
I actually don't know if Lou ever.
I appreciate the update, and I would like to do
Yeah.
that in our next planning ground, but I
Yep.
mean, I'm aware from other evaluations in the past.
Yeah.
But I'd like to get updated,
So,
that'd be great.
yeah, there's just a few spots where stuff's peeling back, like they're easy fixes, it's just few things that are coming back, but the one main issue was the, up on where the block is, did that ever get?
In the elementary?
Yes.
My understanding is that the money is in the budget,
Mhm.
and the method to fix it, which is like that spray on, is
Yeah.
there, but it hasn't gotten beyond that yet.
Okay.
How long is that gonna take?
Yeah.
I don't know how long that takes to go out to, you know, get the vendor, whether that comes in the bid price or not, I don't know. I don't have an answer for you.
I mean, as it's a rainy season, if we have an active leak in our buildings, then the roof is one of our main concerns of what's gonna keep everything standing, so I think that's something that we should be pushing forward pretty quickly on, if that's something Buildings and Grounds takes care of, or is that?
Well, no, that's actually an outside vendor that's coming
Okay.
to spray that. Keith had left that, I don't know if that's on your desk or not, but.
It is, yes.
You know the kind of coating and everything, what that all looks like?
Yeah, I'm aware of it, yeah.
Get you more of an update on that, this weekend.
Okay, thank you.
What about the potholes on campus?
That's this week.
Is it this week? Thank you.
It's tough with the rain and we got
Okay.
frost and you get cold. If I fill them, they're gonna lift right back out
Okay.
with the cold temp.
Because I came up Saturday for the dance competition and.
I'm dodging them
Rough.
too.
Yeah. Okay.
Miss Slade's not watching.
No.
Gotta ask her about it, no.
Pushing people. Any other old business, new business? Legislative, Mr. Metallic.
Nothing to add.
May I have a motion to end the meeting?
Motion?
That's Mr. Burgoy. And a second by Mrs. Secco.
Yes, ma'am.
All in favor?